morning, everyone. Welcome to our second podcast.
Yeah, this is the second in our series of podcasts. We'll go around the table. My name is Carl Bartlett. I'm Director of Certification Services for Higher Association of Europe.
I'm Neil Bravery, the Commercial Director for the Higher Association Europe.
And Anders McLaughlin, Head of Business Unit, HAE Insurance Services.
I think for our members, the key thing for me is when you go out to visit a potential member to talk about insurance, whether it be high secure, which we'll come on to, or just general insurance, is the comfort, if I was a member, to say, right, actually, I was coming in to see me from Tailgate or Donald Route. You understand the language, you understand the terminology about what high member is going to talk to you about. So I think that is the key piece, that you understand our industry, which you clearly do.
Yeah. To put a sort of picture for the audience on the extent of the liability to insurance companies. What is that liability for the last 12 months? What's the cost of theft claims, for example?
I can give you a picture over 3 years. So the last 3 years for high secure, which is we'll come on to shortly. Yeah, we're probably £3 million in terms of claims paid. Wow. So that's for losses and damage. On that's just for kit, and that's just for the members that we look after. You multiply that by X times the amount that we're in the UK, the amount will be huge.
So before we talk about high secure, because that's the key topic that we want to discuss today, and we don't want people to think, Tailgate is just high secure, because you're more than that, aren't you? You can offer our members way more than just the high secure package.
It's high secure is one part to it, and probably the jewel of our crown. But in terms of that support we can give to members, it is the whole shooting match, from the commercial insurances, so the premises, liabilities, vehicles, the hire fleet, through to employee benefits, which is on the rise, and we see as a real added value to people, through to trade credit, which is another one. We've got risk services that we can help and support on as well, and personal insurances as well, which we can handle. So there's pretty much not much that we can't handle. Under insurance for buildings at the moment is some ridiculous figures for. So effectively, what happens if you have a building that should be valued at 100,000 and you insure it for half of that? Insurers would assess the claim, think actually you're underinsured by 50% here. They apply what's called average. Therefore, you reduce your claim by 50% because that's the proportion of underinsurance you've got. And it's a huge issue at the moment. Certainly, will in the back of COVID. There's a lot of properties that were getting reviewed, and it would say 100,000 example. It should be nearer $1 million. When you take into account the cost of materials over time, and that they're still going up to certain fashion. Probably some are slightly coming down, but yeah, if they haven't been valued in 3-5 years, it's certainly worth doing that. And we can offer a free rebuild cost assessment desktop, which will certainly give you a barometer where it should be, but that difference in your premium to uplift it will be a lot less than what it would be if you had a claim and your underinsurance was 10, 15, 20, 30%.
Okay, so let's be clear on that then. So we have a hire member, they've gone through Sayfire, they're not using Tailgate.
Yeah.
They reach out to you and say, Anders, can you help us? Can you do that assessment? You'll do that free of charge.
You'll do that free of charge, and that will then give them an idea if their buildings are up to date in terms of current replacement.
Okay. So the second part to this is hire member, gone through Sayfire, accredited.
Yeah.
Is there a discount?
There is. So Sayfire is probably more on the liability side of a risk. So your public and employees liability will get a discount of anywhere between 10 and 15% once Sayfire accreditation is attained. And that would be off the liability for the life of the policy, obviously subject to Sayfire being met. And that's just a reward for saying and seeing that you're going above and beyond what the normal would be, that normal high business would be. And often the case is that discount or that saving can pay for the Sayfire audit. So it's cost neutral, but you're reclaiming that back year on year. And it's that great defensibility. So if a claim does occur, that you've gone through your Sayfire and met all these accreditations and documentations up to date, when a claim comes in from an employee or a member of the public, you can then go, right, okay, there's all my documentation. Mr. Insurer, can you defend that in accordance with what we've got in place? Yeah, and it's that when they say that claim comes in that you can defend it. Don't get me wrong, it won't prevent the claim from occurring, but it puts you in a far stronger position to defend it. That what should be a £25,000 employer's liability claim is actually £2,500 because you've got all these processes and procedures in place that, whether it be for training, PPE, that the employee signed for example, actually, what have we done wrong? It was just a genuine accident, and they happen. So yeah, it's recognised, and we like HAE do, we encourage it to be attained because of those reasons.
So, okay, there is definitely a saving to be had. So you save higher, you've got the saving. You probably get some extended wording, I would have thought, in the policies.
Yeah. All of our policies for members will include certain enhancements of covers, which I say are over and above what you could get off, the internet or other brokers, and they're exclusive to HAE members.
Okay. Regarding sort of the points of contact for our members, obviously you're out and about. So what's the size of the team?
We've got 8 within the team, and probably those 8, with 4 of us have dealt with HAE for probably over 5 years, which again, I'm not just saying I'm the face of insurance services. We've got a team which, if I'm not there, can quite happily stand in and deal with a member's inquiry. But yeah, there's 8 of us, 2 claims people. We've got 3 on the broking side, and then we've got 3 as the client contact, essentially.
Okay. Right. Let's talk about the jewel in the crown. Okay, higher secure.
Yep.
We know, well, you're going to talk about a higher secure package, what it looks like, what it does for our members. But for those that don't know, just give us a headline view of what higher secure does and the process.
So,
because one insurance, is it? That's the key differentiator. What's this damage waiver, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think for our members, it's trying to sort of just clear that slight bit of muddy water up, because in previous incarnations with HAE, we've had the insurance policy with the FCAP that was a nightmare for members, and you've now got past that. So let's just sort of try and break that down and make it really straightforward.
So it's probably fair to say that High Secure is in 2 parts. High Secure is an insurance policy that sits with the member. So it doesn't attach to any of their other insurances. So that sits there. And then the other part is a loss and damage waiver.
So that's the bit that waiver is. Yeah.
So the loss and damage waiver is what the member would offer to their customer. And that's a waiver against the terms and conditions of hire, which would make that customer responsible. But for paying a small fee, they can waive that responsibility. So that's where the waiver comes in. Waiver has certain terms and conditions, which we provide full documentation for that. If a loss or damage does occur, member then makes a claim on the High Secure policy, which sits in their name and their name only. So they can only make a claim on that policy. But the member is not selling insurance. It's a waiver that they sell to the customer.
Okay. So I'm the customer. I come into you. I hire a 3-ton excavator. 3-ton excavator disappears from my building site. I come in. The police have done their investigation. They've done their investigation. We've got the crime reference number, let's say. What happens next? So I'm sat here, I've got the liability that I've got to replace your digger. Yeah. Can't afford to do it, but I've taken out the damage waiver. Wrong car.
I was going to say, if we take that back a step, when the client comes into the hire organisation to hire the equipment, the hire organisation say to the client, look, we have this loss and damage waiver that can support the process should anything go wrong.
Yeah.
So, for example, you tip over an excavator, you gets hit by something else on site. There's a difficult conversation to be had when it comes back about the damage, or we get stolen from site. That's another really difficult conversation to have when you come back and have to report the fact that it's been stolen. But the guys on the hire desk, the guys who are working on the hire company, they're going to inform the client of the benefits. So if we start at that point, it leads us to the next meeting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the benefits are of, the normal track is you go to a hire business, want to hire a piece of equipment, they'll say, have you got any hired implant insurance? Or can you confirm you've got hired implant? most commercial customers or contractors will have that, but a lot of small builders or individuals won't have it. They can look to source it online. It can be quite expensive. So HAE Secure is that peace of mind, which, under terms and conditions, that customer is responsible for the equipment whilst it's in their care, custody, control. You got to hire the equipment, ask those questions you just said, Carla, you're responsible. What that does, it's in lieu of the fee you pay, it takes that worry that for a loss or damage that does occur whilst I've got it as a customer, I'm not going to be pursued from said hire company because I've paid the waiver. And that is it's a point of hire facility that, you're not asking the customers to go, go away and get your own hiring plan. Because what we have found is people say, okay, there's the rate, £100 for the weekend. Oh, that's great. Now source your insurance online. They have a look online and think, can I get the hire a bit cheaper? So before you know it, you as the hire company, you don't get the hire plant online and you don't get the hire because they found it for £5 cheaper elsewhere. So it's that benefit or added value service that you can give to a customer that, we'll give you the hire at a competitive rate, but we can also offer you this loss damage waiver, which will negate your responsibility whilst you've got that equipment on hire from us. We will pursue you essentially for the loss or damage.
So, and that's offered at a percentage rate? Yeah,
it's a percentage of the hire rate. It's 15% it calculates to be, and that's just on the pure hire. So £100 hire would cost £115 inclusive of the waiver, which we've done some kind of due diligence on the rates that most people apply. We haven't done it because of this reason, but it's obviously done on the historical kind of losses. But 15% is the rate, and that's pretty much what majority of people do charge, between 15 and 20.
So that's the waiver side of things. But when we put it on the other side, the insurance side of things, there is an excess applicable.
Yeah. There's 3 excess bands we have. So a claim up to 2,500 is 100. 2,501 up to 5 is 250, and then 5,000 above is 500. And people think they're low, which they are compared to other policies. So you could effectively have a £2,000 machine get stolen and the excess is £100. Compare that to a hide implant policy. Majority of those insurers would charge minimum £1,000 for theft and malicious damage. So that's another value add that you can have your own customer, but actually via HAE Secure, for example, you'd only have 100 excess with us. Yours would be 1,000.
So you must have some terrible stories of some horrendous claims that have gone through HAE Secure.
We have.
Go on. What's the biggest claim on this?
The biggest to date, it's probably just short of 300 grand.
On one hire?
One hire, yeah.
Are you allowed to share some of those details?
Yeah, I'll probably give you location. So it was kind of in East Anglia way. It was a legitimate hire. Went through all the checks. That was all fine. Had a requirement for 4 or 5 machines, quite big machines, not for physically doing work. It was more of a training arrangement, and delivered on it was the Friday evening or Saturday morning, and by Monday, all machines had gone.
So the customer was legit. Paperwork was all bottomed down. It was good. No issues there at all. They were just subject to a theft over the weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
And they'll be glad they took a HAE Secure.
Oh, massively, yeah. Yeah.
So the call comes in. It's the call you didn't want.
I'm on my yacht in the Bahamas.
The call comes in. Come on, Anders, talk us.
Take your sunglasses off when you like call.
So actually, it's no different to any other call you get that, we've had a claim. Okay, what's happened? This is what happened. It's a big one. Okay. That's that's the nature of the beast. And, we can get it from having a claim of £1,000 up to that. And it's what we're here for, whether it be that small or that large, it's.
So the customer's sweating, thinking, this is not going to be covered.
I mean, that is you get the call is, would we be covered for this? Well, yeah, that's what it is about, yeah.
And he finds himself paying an excess, which is relatively small, in comparison with the extent of the theft.
Yeah.
Then we have to establish that it's not the person who's had the equipment stolen, it's the hire company that gets the benefit of the higher secure.
Yeah. Whilst the customer pays for it and they get the benefit of the waiver that they're not going to be pursued, what that customer, so that hire company does have then is that their equipment's replaced in accordance with the policy, or it could be a cross-hire situation that they've cross-hired it from another party. And again, that situation will be covered because it does cover own and cross-hired equipment.
The cross-hire piece is really interesting because a lot of our members do cross-hire. So that is something.
Yep. So whether it be own or cross-hired in from other party, that is covered as well.
Okay, so let's put a slight tilt on the story. Same scenario, 300 grand's worth of machinery that gets stolen. But let's say the customer that came in to hire that kit was hiring it fraudulently. Let's say false passport, ID, whatever. Okay. But at the point of hire, the hire desk operative looked at it and took it as read and thought, that all looks perfect to me. I've got no worries there.
We had situations where people covering the tracks, whether it be a fake passport, driving license. One of the trends that we are seeing an increase in is fake insurance documents as well. So to support that fake company being set up, for example, or it's been set up with a view to defrauding somebody, account goes all squeaky clean because it's paid the first 2 or 3 bills. But when you set up an account and as Carl will know you, but and okay, that's it, you got a credential, that's fine. Okay, you've got insurance document or insurance details. You send in a letter which confirms you've got HAE implant. That's all fine. Yep, that insurer, that's fine. Yeah, that's the limit. That's the renewal date. Yeah, that's all great. How are they to know that insurance document is valid? We don't take it as read. Yeah, take it as read. And we have had situations this last 12 months where probably 4 people have been subject to a fake insurance document, which was essentially, it was a document that was fraudulent.
Sorry. There's also the risk of where people go and they get a quotation from an insurance company. They provide them with that quotation, and it gives them that. Basically, it tells them that they're going to be covered, and but that insurance document isn't actually legitimate until that insurance premium has been paid.
It's purchased, yeah. I mean, as I said, more often than not, and I've done a post on this on socials about a lot of people will put their insurance details on their website because we're insured, we've got these limits, and we're all legal and everything. There's nothing to say that someone just take that information off that, put it on their own letterhead with a different insurer, and just use those details.
But going back to the account one, what we're saying here, that really is sophisticated. So you've got an account customer coming in, and they're creating this view of credibility that they're paying their invoices. So it's a bit of a slow burn, and bang, they hit you.
That's the usual method that they do. Get up a bit of credibility, pay bills, and then hire more equipment. We've got some other sites that we're on. Can we hire some more?
Hire company feels happy because it's all going well.
Yeah. Yep. And then that's when it occurs. So it's usually on a long weekend, or certainly on a weekend is when most of them occur. And yeah, it's that's when the theft will occur. And then before you know it, you've had 25 grand, 50 grand, 150 grand on that site there. And very, very rarely you would go to the site and your kit would be there. It would be, it would be all gone.
Wow. That's quite frightening.
Yeah, it is. And we had this discussion at the Exec HAE show, I think last week, about, there's no other industry where you would, you have the asset you pay all this money for, and a few checks from somebody, and you give them a 10, 15 grand machine.
Yeah.
But be back, won't you?
Yeah, HAE is the only other one.
And it's, there's a lot of good faith instilled in hire, and it's just very strange. But where the HAE Secure can come into that is that it will offer your customer peace of mind who doesn't want to go source through, and it's a one-off hire, gives them the peace of mind, but it also gives the hire business that peace of mind that they're not going to think, is that insurance going to respond or not, or is it legitimate? The HAE Secure policy will is bona fide. It's there. It will respond when needed.
So I presume any hire company can just ring up HAE Insurance Service and say, "Can I take HAE Secure then, please?"
Not any, Neil, not any. So HAE Secure is exclusive to HA membership. That's one of the benefits for HAE Secure. So yeah, membership is the only prerequisite for HAE secure.
So nobody outside of being a HAE member can get this policy. So are we saying that this has been written for our members, pretty much?
Yeah. We again, when we took over the insurance services just over 3 years ago, we viewed what was currently in place, and we then thought, what's on the market for people to have, what other competitors have got, and what can we put in place that has these great benefits of the insurance back bit, but just makes their life a lot easier. And that's where the loss damage waiver came in, with the HAE secure insurance backing of it.
What if I'm an event member?
Yeah, the event side, same rules apply to them. It will cover there, whether it be audiovisual, catering, it will cover those as well.
Okay.
Excellent. You being familiar with the industry as well, you're familiar with other partners and other organizations that we work with, including the software developers for the hire industry and those who work to provide the platforms that members use to operate their businesses. And you obviously had discussions with them, and you understand the requirements from a hire company's perspective as well. So how do you see that this integrates well with the software?
The majority of the software houses have got the capability to include this. Is, from what I understand, it's all kind of hidden behind the scenes. So a few clicks and it will appear. But how the HAE secure is declared to us is monthly in arrears. So a member would set up HAE secure, put it down as a nominal code on the system. HAE contract comes to get drawn up. There's your machine. Tick the HAE secure box. That will then do all the back office calculations that we needed to get done. Come month end, you run your report of 007, for example. Run that report, send that in to us. And that shows us what you have done hire-wise that has had the HAE secure attached to it. That's declared to us, and that's essentially all the member would need to do.
So the member's getting their money up front, they're paying you in arrears.
Correct. And so we have a member now that wants to take the HAE secure policy. How easy is that to do? Is that quite a onerous process? Is it just a phone call, fill a form in, you come out to site, have a look? What happens?
All of the above. We've had some, in the early days, we had some requirements that it either needed to be same day, or certainly within probably 2 or 3 days, we were able to get HAE secure up and running. A lot of the time it is dictated to how quickly can get HAE software updated. But yeah, in the early days, we probably had to switch people on within 1 or 2 days. And we're fortunate to have the insurer partners that would respond to that. And yeah, they could effectively, get a call on a Friday. The Monday they were set up and ready to offer HAE secure to their customers. But yeah, from a phone call, there's an application which is just what we'd expect to get for a client: name, address, trading history, HAE membership number, but an idea what the HAE fleet consists of, making sure that that all fits in, issuing of a policy, documentation, the waiver that we supply to the member, and that's pretty much.
So it's not too onerous on the hire company, really. As long as they're putting it on the contract at the beginning of the hire.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they've got the nominal code set up, and they do the return. That's it.
Yeah. It's people, when we've talked to people about it, they'll almost say it's too good to be true. Because the other side to it as well, the HAE secure, there is actually no cost to the member for it. So if you apply for whilst it is an insurance policy, as you mentioned, Carl, it's that payment in arrears for it, but the member is not paying for it. Their customers are. So there's no cost to the member for it on an ongoing basis, and there's no initial setup cost for it either. So we effectively give it a free of charge protection, which is paid for by the hire members' customers.
It's a win-win for members, really, is it? Because it de-risks the situation of them using equipment. There's nothing worse than having assets taken whereby you haven't got that asset anymore, and you haven't got the money to replace it unless you've got the cover in place. And the other side of it is as well is that it completely eradicates those difficult conversations when things go wrong or things get stolen, things get damaged.
Yeah. We have a bit of a saying which on the HAE secure, secure your next HAE with HAE secure, and that has two meanings. That's for the customer, but also for the member as well. Because, you want it to be secure that that you haven't got a fake insurance document, which will it pay, won't it pay? That if it goes out with HAE secure, you've got the HAE secure insurance policy to fall back on if the worst happens. So it's that it's meant for both there. But it's that peace of mind for customer and member. It's high secure.
Well, I've got two questions, or two final questions here. So we've mentioned lots about fraudulent hire, theft, all that nasty, horrible stuff. But I know when I ran my business, and probably be the same with you, Carl, damages were a problem. Always a problem, certainly on the bigger stuff. They go out, machines get damaged, and we're back to that difficult conversation. If a member has damage to their machine, is the process as easy as, it clearly is easy, is it the same process for a theft?
Yeah, they would, for a damage claim, we'd expect an estimate for the repairs, what that would be, whether it be in-house, which you can do, so you can do your own repairs and still claim on high secure, or if it was an external specialist contractor. One-page claim form, which is very simple and easy. That gets submitted with all the documents that are indicated on the claim form. Submit that in with the estimate. Not only recently, we've had claims where we had one recently, which was submitted on a Monday afternoon, the offer was in. Granted, it was 400 quid, but it was dealt with in a day. Now, we've had some claims where the bigger ones where, yes, they have to get investigated. There's process they have to go through, but some of the smaller end ones, we're getting dealt with in a day or two. And I don't know any other insurer, the volume of claims we're putting through that, would deal with a damage claim within hours, let alone days.
So the average claim time from the phone call to the letter being paid out, what would you say roughly?
It depends on circumstances, but we're probably looking at two weeks maybe. It's not a huge amount of time, but it's in lieu of going via the customers' insurers that you've got it. You've got to chase them, or just gets appointed, but you're effectively in control of it. 'Cause it obviously comes via the high secure policy. But yeah, we've had some that have been less than that. That example of that, within the day, which is is incredible, compared to larger ones that have to get investigated. There's checks need to be done, which naturally do take longer as well.
So for our members, the way I see this now is, it really is the policy that helps you sleep at night. If you're the hire member, but also if you're the customer as well, because everyone's covered.
Yeah, it is. It's the beauty again is that it's an insurance policy that sits outside of any other insurance arrangements you've got. Okay. So if you have a claim or a theft that applies to higher secure, that just sits on that policy only. So it doesn't affect any of your other higher fleet policy you've got. So your contractor's plant policy, it will only affect that policy, which we've got 200 people subscribing to and putting into that pot. So it'll affect that pot only. So come to a renewal time of your general insurances, when you give us a call for that, and it says, what claims have you had? Well, I've had these claims on that. Well, actually, if you used high secure, you could protect that policy from any future increase in premiums, because any claim you do have, you can offer the waiver, but it'll sit on high secure, not your own policy. So again, it's that win-win of, yes, you can offer that to the customer, but a claim comes in and it would sit on the high secure, none of your own.
One final point, I think this is really important. So when you're looking at account customers, you're looking at your cash hires. For example, the cash hires are dead simple. They're on a hire by hire basis. You're putting out a damage waiver, but then you have an account customer. So a damage waiver is applied to that customer's account. So regardless whether they hire an excavator or a wallpaper stripper, the damage waiver still applies. You can't cherry pick which contract you're putting on, can you? Is that?
Some do, some don't. So you can, or the customer can pick which they'd like it on. Ideally, you'd want that fair spread of risk that they're taking it on everything. Okay. But you get a situation where somebody will say, I've got this machine on the side of the M62. It's there for 8 weeks. Can I have a high secure? The next job is I've got an access platform in a school, which is nice and closed, safe and secure. Ideally, you'd like it to apply to everything, because that's it. It still can get stolen, but yeah, the option is there. It can be picked on it, but the majority of people would say, account customers say, just apply it to everything. We haven't got the inclination or the time to not that one, that one, not that.
There is a degree of flexibility in a little bit.
Yeah. You'd expect there to be, but yeah, most of the time the customers would just say, apply on everything. Just apply on everything.
Okay. How do our members get hold of you, Anders? That's the best way.
They can website, which all our information's on there. We've got a dedicated email address of hae@towergate.co.uk, which comes into the team. But yeah, whether it be via the website, which has got the majority of the information on there, which is a good starting point, that would be the best part of contact.
Just a final question from me. We have a lot of members who have equipment that falls under various different pieces of legislation, whether it be PUA, LOLA, the PSSR regulations. You also offer engineering insurance policies as well, which can help support me.
Yeah, for statutory inspection. It's probably one of the products that we don't do enough of because of the importance of it. I would always recommend that an external person does do that for a HAE member, mainly because it's done by somebody else, and if it does go wrong, you can point the finger. Some people do it in-house, but what you've got there is that they've got to be deemed as a competent person, and I'm sure they are, but then when you've got to the independent side of it of, well, actually, has it been done on an independent basis whereby
She's not checking your own work.
Yeah, essentially. So it's something which, we can facilitate. It's one of those of, it's done on a case-by-case basis because you've got a premises basis or a map which is moved about plant. So it can be done if it's on site. Naturally, it does cost more because you've got engineers to travel more. But it's something we can offer that as well.
I have actually got one last question. We haven't touched on it. So you're a broker.
Yes.
So behind the broker sits the insurer. Is there any particular large insurance business that you're tied in with, just to give our members some comfort that if they decide to go with you for general insurance, outside of HAE Secure, who are you partnering with?
Yeah, on HAE Secure, the insurer is Zurich, which has been for the time that we've done HAE Secure, so just over 3 years. And prior to that, they've probably done it for near on 20 years. For HAE. Yep. And then on our kind of general insurances, Allianz are one of our main insurers. Along with Aviva for engineering and plant. We're governed by regulation. We wouldn't recommend somebody who doesn't fit financial criteria, but also as well who we don't have confidence in paying claims, because essentially it's our reputation that if we suggest an insurer who doesn't have the financial backing or doesn't meet the criteria and solvency, that we'll pay a claim, or they're going to be here in a year, 2 years time, that reflects on us. So we would only recommend somebody who meets financial criteria, but also we've got the confidence in that we'll pay a claim when the worst happens.
Brilliant. Excellent. Anders, thank you for today. Thank you, Jeb. Good. Hopefully that's been informative for our members. Look forward to the next podcast.
Okay, thank you.